Example, yeah.
Oh my goodness! I think the word we use is obstreperous.
Well, that's not such a positive.
I have no clue. I work for NPR, and I have no clue what obstreperous means. What is obstreperous? I mean, I've heard the word, but what's it mean?
No, she's not. That's something when we're in rehearsal mode. If somebody's disruptive, or something, I'll use that. Right, I'll use that word. But no, she is. She's dynamic and electrifying, and she's just. She gets into it so much that her whole body takes over, and she's just fun to watch.
You got to have that, right? If you're doing songs like Aretha did, and my gosh, right?
It comes with a certain kind of energy that you need to have a part of you in order to really portray that.
So you don't want, and as a young person, I'm assuming you're 20-something?
29,
yeah. Okay. So you don't have this calling to do like Beyonce or, that kind of thing. You want it to be classic.
Well, you do want to do Shaka Khan and Edgar Von Jr.
Yeah, I do. Two of my favorites, actually, idols.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. But the Motown feels right.
The Motown does feel right. Yep. Yeah, definitely. I think there's a comeback for that kind of music, especially in this area. So
there really seems to be. Can you explain that, the draw to the Motown sound?
Well, those are some incredible songs with incredible arrangements, and the records are incredible, the way they were recorded and captured. And Lon Dolber is channeling James Jamerson on the bass. He is channeling, and that's no easy feat. I mean, he really is vigilant. I mean, if I did what he did, I would play guitar like Andre Segovia. I mean, he really has been very kind. No, he really
So Lon, I mean, when did this start? I mean, you're a financial advisor. When did the music start?
Well, I actually played for 5-6 years in a rock and roll band called the Filthy Crickets, and but as a bass player, I wanted to learn and play more complicated music. The the Motown bass lines are harder to play from my point of view than some of the rock and roll that I was playing. Wow. And after a while, you can only play Brown Eyed Girl so many times and Mustang Sally so many times, and I just wanted to, learn songs like Respect and Band of Gold. I mean, there's just other songs that would, stretch my abilities as a bass player. So I wanted the Motown music is harder to play.
It is harder, huh?
Oh, for a bass player, I think it's harder to play.
And the band behind them was the Funk Brothers, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They had a formula that was really working, and they had that room. They just figured out how. In those days, when they had units together, like in Stax Records, and once those companies went out of business or they relocated and those groups disbanded, it seems like they were never able to recapture whatever magic they had. If they were making hits, they wouldn't turn and adjust one knob on an amp, or if a guy broke a string, they would be very reluctant to change anything because they were making hit records. So Motown, the heyday of it, it was so competitive. If you look at the charts in those days, just to participate in that the songs that they're playing, most of them are high recognition Motown hits, and then we have a couple of things we've thrown in that are like a little bit of a departure, but they're just, if they were ever great, they transcend, they become universal, they always will be great.
I think it was interesting, though, the first day you showed up in the basement where we practiced, you were like, okay, we got to make some changes. Number one, that pool table has to go. Number two, I don't like any of these big amps. We're going to use small amps because I want to hear the singing.
You had to change the lighting.
We had to change the lighting. You made me do all these things. And number three, you got to put a schmata in that bass. Maybe you could talk about the schmata a little bit. I didn't know about a schmata. It's a Yiddish for rag.
I'll tell you what it is. It's like when the Fender engineers, when they made this bass, the way they designed it, they had muffling that they would put under this these guards, the protective guards over the strings. So over the years, when bass became more of a solo instrument, like when Yes were on, Chris Squire was playing, and the guys were playing with picks, and it became more of a solo thing. In the old days, the function of the bass was a little different. So James Jamerson, he left the bass stock. Whatever they invented, he didn't mess with its voodoo. So this Lon's bass, I think all the covers were off it. And I said, there's too much, the value of the notes are too long. I said, so there's too much hang time on all these notes.
Right,
So
I get it.
And then doing muffling, it's a delicate balance. If you over muffle,
we spent about 25 minutes trying to get that rag
Got
in
to have
between
that
the
rag,
strings.
that certain consistency of the rag, too.
But
Is it silk? Is it cotton?
Lon had a Gabilla Knish, and that worked on the low E string. He had the greatest muffling on his low E string because that really worked. But it has to be at a certain temperature.
What about the cloth? I mean, does it matter?
No, I mean, we use just a polishing cloth.
Okay,
but
good.
I've used some peculiar things like pumpernickel, whatever.
Oh, my God, whatever's
it's
handy.
spongy. But yeah, to get the muffling right, and then it helped his sound, and then just made it sound more authentic.
Right. And John, did you take a lot of this experience you had and apply it to the series Vinyl? Did you, counsel them on?
Well, they hired me because I have a reputation of being a stickler for authenticity of that period. So even for certain props, they needed charts for a session that would have taken place in 1959. So I located some stuff and I sent it to them, and they used it to make it look, proper.
And what years does Vinyl span? I thought it was like 60s and into 70s.
Well, it takes place in 73, but they have flashbacks that go back to around 59 or 60.
If you had a chance to work with any of the stars of the series, talk with them.
Yeah, Bobby Cannavale, when Elvis Costello was in, he spent 12 hours sitting in the studio very quietly there, and he gave me a nice gift bag,
Oh, wow.
And
he was kind of soaking it up, I gather,
yeah,
probably watching you.
They liked it, and a lot I don't remember because I was so busy with it. I did a lot of stuff. At the same time, incidentally, I was involved with a project that's now going to Broadway in October.
Oh,
it's a musical version of A Bronx Tale. So I'm a period music consultant on that, and arranger. And
it's like going to a collectibles shop, and now things from the 70s are antiques. You're a period musical consultant
to younger people like this.
Yeah.
I'll play a guitar, and they'll say, "Wow, that's an old guitar from the '70s." And I guess that's old.
I guess that's old now,
not
right?
for me, but.
And Nathina, representing your generation, how's it feel to be amidst the old school?
I don't know. It feels great, actually.
Comfortable?
Kind of
Comfortable?
very comfortable for
Yep.
me. I don't really feel that much younger in some ways.
Well, we have a strong connection through music.
Yeah,
It's
that's it, right?
universal.
That's what music does.
Plus, I'm very immature for my age. I'm 63, but I only act around 61.
That's cool. And I want to toss it back to Bill Donahue, our good friend and great supporter of the station, and we always thank you for that, Bill. But is there another honor flight coming up? Because I know you're so involved in that.
Yeah, we just had one May 14th.
Oh, great.
Went very well. We escorted 47 World War II veterans down to the World War II Memorial. And one of the veterans we're going to interview this Friday as part of my ongoing documentary. His name is Harold Caffrey, World War II veteran. And all the veterans have to fill out a sheet called a when and where sheet before they go on the flight. And I get to look at those sheets and read them. And at the memorial, I will seek out different veterans to just question them on their story. One veteran, Harold Caffrey, he wrote in a sheet that he was a Navy gunner and he was torpedoed by a Nazi submarine and sank in the Indian Ocean. So at the memorial, I go up to him, Mr. Caffrey, how you doing? I'm Bill Donahue from Honor Flight. Are you enjoying the memorial? Yes, I am. I go, I see you were torpedoed by a Nazi submarine and sank. I said, I'd like to interview you for my documentary. And he was like, really? I go, yeah. What happened after you sank? He goes, well, we spent 3 days in the Indian Ocean. I go, I'd really like to interview you. And he goes, well, we were in a raft. I go, and the raft was in the ocean? He goes, yeah. We sent out a signal before we went down, so we knew help was coming. I said, I'm not, those 3 days, I don't think they were very relaxing 3 days if you knew help was coming. 3 days in a raft in the Indian Ocean is. So he goes, yeah, it was, a British ship picked us up. So I said, I'm not going to force you, but I really want to interview you. And he goes, okay, yeah. Very humble, matter-of-factly. So this Friday at our studio, Studio 454, through the.
How many have you interviewed now of these veterans?
Now this should be 17, which is 16 World War II vets and 1 Afghan.
And I'm just amazed, like, some of these men are like in their 90s, and their memory of the war is so clear. You just listen to them speak, and it's just unbelievable. But they haven't spoken about this before.
They never would, right? When they came back? Yeah.
And not for all these years. And it's only now that they're willing to speak about it.
My uncle is in his 90s. He was at Guadalcanal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
My father was in Battle of the Bulge. And,
Did he talk about it?
When
Johnny,
I was a kid, we used to. It was a big deal in the '60s, But then when he got older, he didn't like to talk about it that much.
Oh, wow.
But I did bring around a friend's son who was very interested in World War II, and he just got out of service actually, and my father would talk to him about it as much as he could,
You got to capture these stories, which is why you're documenting them.
What I tell the veterans, I go, your grandchildren will be able to watch this on digital media forever. We just interviewed an Afghan war vet, Ronan Seltenrich, who is now a Quag police officer. This is our first. We kind of leaped ahead here. This guy's 22 years old, but he told us it was a 2-hour, 45-minute interview, and it was very, very good and very therapeutic. At the end, he felt better, which was really our goal.
And what do you hope? I mean, will this just be an ongoing document?
We're going to do two things. We're going to try and connect up with the university to help us have them maintain the archive. We continue the interviews, and we just feed the archive. They maintain the archive for educational purposes. So that what they do, they'll take the interviews and they'll map the words of the interviews so that each word becomes searchable. So that 10 years from now, if a kid is Googling about Navy gunners who were sunk in the Indian Ocean, up will pop Harold Caffrey and his video.
That's amazing.
So we got to get an institution to help us out.
Connect with the Library of Congress.
We're looking out to any institution. Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, because they had an ongoing documentation program our friend was a part of. So anyway, thank you, Bill Donahue, as always. Johnny Gale, what a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. And Lon Dobler, where will your band, and Nathina, one of the lead singers, where will they be performing next?
We'll be performing at the Hampton Lady on this Sunday, 6 to 9. We're playing there most of the summer. So
cool.
At the Hampton Lady out in Hampton Bay.
Awesome. And will you do any Prince? Today's his birthday,
Johnny, you'll have to help us.
Gotta do a Prince
I turned
song.
to Johnny.
I was trying to get them to do a Prince Buster song. Prince Buster?
Thanks, guys. All the best.
Thank you.
Nothing compares to any of you. Thank you.
Nothing can stop this lonely rain.